Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Rahul Kumar from Indian Banks Association. I'll be with you for the conference session. I have this opportunity to extend a warm welcome to our esteemed audience. I'm sure the session proceedings will help you to get along with the theme of this event, which is building the AI-enabled bank of the future. And before we move on with the panel sessions, we have a presentation by Salesforce India, and it is my privilege to invite on stage Srimati Arundhati Bhattacharya, Chairperson and Chief Executive Officer for Salesforce India. In her role, she oversees the growth strategy of the company and plays an integral role in defining Salesforce's relationship with the ecosystem of customers, partners, and community across India. Welcome, ma'am.
Good morning, everybody. First and foremost, thank you very much for having me here. Coming back to IBA and addressing IBA, it's like coming home. Just as you have a great feeling when you come home, I have a great feeling too. It's a really nice, warm feeling to come and address a room full of bankers. Yes, it's true, I'm in a different industry right now, but believe me, banking is never far from my mind, and it's always a privilege to be able to talk to bankers like you. I see a lot of new faces. Y'all also must have been in the bank when I was there, but I was there quite some time back, so I retired from the banking sector about 7 years back. But luckily for me, I got into a sector which remains closely aligned with banking. And in today's day and age especially, just as your chief guest, Mr. Kamath, said, are we IT companies doing banking or banking companies doing IT? That can be sort of interchangeable. And so to that extent, my connection with many of you and with the banks continues full scale. So having said that, let's get on with the presentation. And in Salesforce, what we really do is really work for the digital transformation of banks so that banks now can completely address the customer experience layer, which in our times was difficult to do. So we were all more about the core of banking. The transaction layer of banking was what we were more into and what we were using IT mainly for. Creating the customer experience was something actually that was being done more by fintechs than by us. But today, that need not any longer be the case. Today, any and everybody can actually create a fantastic customer experience, and that's what we are actually enabled and capable of doing on account of the IT stack that is currently available. And Salesforce basically plays very much in the customer experience creation layer. Now, somebody in a very recent conference asked me that if I had one superpower, what would it be? And yes, I thought about it, and I replied, well, if I really had to have a superpower, why not be Einstein? That's what you'd like to be. Every one of us would like to be that. And today, in fact, technology has made it such that every one of us can be Einstein. And by the way, our AI engine is called Einstein, but really and truly speaking, it can do many of the things that we would believe people like Einstein could do. So the fact of the matter is, as Mr. Kamath said, we indeed are in what can be called as an AI revolution. And the first phase of the AI revolution was basically when we went in for predictive AI. So basically, a lot of data was fed into AI, and on the basis of that, AI could predict what would possibly be the best outcomes and how those things can actually help you do your business. The second wave that has really shaken everybody is the wave 2 that we have over here, which is basically the generative AI. And in the generative AI, what has happened is, what is the very big difference between predictive AI and generative AI? Generative AI is also answering your questions. Predictive AI used to also answer your questions. But what's the basic difference between the two? The basic difference between the two is generative AI, what it has done is actually democratize AI. Meaning that when you are giving inputs to AI, you no longer have to do it in a structured format. It can be in an entirely unstructured format, because today AI is able to read large language models, make sense of it, and extract from it anything that is of use to it. So basically then what is happening is the input no longer needs to be structured and therefore is democratized. Anybody and everybody can put in an input. And similarly, the output is also democratized, because you don't need to write SQL queries in order to get your answers. You don't need to go to your quants and your analysts in order to find the answers. You can, in your own language, English or any other language, actually write it out in plain natural language, and the LLM models, that's the generative AI models, can make out what you are answering or what you are asking for and can give you the answer. So that's the second wave that is currently there. But this is very soon going to come into wave 3. And what will happen in wave 3? Today you have what is called the copilot model, right? At this point of time, even when the answers are coming, there are difficulties, and therefore we always have a human person sitting beside what is the answer being given and checking to see that it is really addressing your needs. You are not allowing them to be autonomous. Grade 3 of AI is actually going to make it autonomous. And then the last wave will be what is called artificial general intelligence, where AI will start to proximate a human person in the sense that you don't even have to think about prompts at that stage. AI will be able to actually generate whatever you are having in mind. It will be able to foresee the problems, think of the resolutions, and go ahead and resolve them. Changing this is an issue, yeah. So today, if you look at the AI opportunity, 84% of leaders agree that Gen AI is something that better serves the customers. 64% of jobs, executives feel they will hire more of skilled workers because of the Gen AI. In respect of productivity, we have already proved it in various companies, including in banks, that productivity will go up by anything that is 30% and above. The growth prospects are in the range of $4.4 trillion. That's going to be the GDP impact on the countries. And 3 out of 4 companies today are clearly saying that this is something that is going to bring about a strategic transformation in their companies. 92% of businesses feel that they are going to have strategic investments in AI because that's the way it will work. However, the problem still remains that there is a gap between what we want to do and where we are going to do it and how we are going to do it. And that, as everybody is calling it, is the trust gap. Because whatever you want to do, there are certain steps that you need to take before you get there. The first and foremost steps, of course, is the fact that your data lies in various silos. It's not a unified system. Second thing is, you don't want the large language models to train on your data. You may want to access them in order to find out what it can give to you, but you don't want your data to be part of the entire data set that they use in order to give answers to somebody else. You need to protect your data. And because today, the data sets that the LLMS model is crawling across and finding its answers from, because it cannot make out whether that data set is a correct data set or an incorrect data set, is a real data set or a fake data set, it results in what are called hallucinations. So things that actually may not be, may actually be coming up as answers because the AI is hallucinating. And of course, depending upon the data sets that you use it on, it can give you bias, it can give you toxicity. In fact, in the US, they found that when they use this data set on people who are likely to do certain types of crimes, they came out with something which clearly showed that there was racial profiling. The reason for that is actual racial profiling was happening, and that's the data set that is available. When LLMS works on that data set, it picks up the same bias and therefore gives you answers that are, again, profiling on a racial model. So to that extent, you have to make sure that the data that you're feeding your LLMS models is actually free of bias, free of toxicity, but that continues to be a problem. Now, that being the case, what we really need now is what we are calling both a trust revolution and a data revolution. You've got to get your data in order, and you must be able to trust whatever the LLMS model is doing for you. And there, the journey to that, though it appears to be simple, is actually not quite so. It can be pretty hard. First of all, you need to connect all your data across your data islands. Luckily, there are very many middleware that can do this for you and do it intelligently so that it can put together data, harmonize them, and actually get it across. You can thereafter build a common data model so that you have what is called a single record, a single golden record of the customer. You can connect all of your apps, whether they be sales, service, marketing, commerce, whatever it be. You can put it all together. You can build a trust layer on top of that in order to ensure that your LLMS model is actually not allowing your data to leak out. And thereafter only, you can deploy AI across the entire enterprise. So putting together your data, creating the customer record, and putting together all of your apps so that they feed into whatever is that one single profile of the customer, and thereafter enabling your trust layer and using your AI thereafter in order to generate whatever answers you want, that is really the way to go. Now, having said that, we have been on the AI revolution from 2014. But as you can see, towards the end, that is from 2022 onwards, there's been a huge uplift in the amount of work that we have been able to do. And today, more and more, all of the generative AI tools are being put into every one of our services. If you look at the amount of work that has been done by us, we have already over 300 AI patents, 227 AI research papers. So this journey that we have done in the AI space is not of recent origin. This has been going on for the last 10 years. The only thing is that there has been a recent upsurge, and that is true across the entire world, in the sense that today we are actually very rapidly progressing from wave 1 to wave 2, whatever time it has taken. From wave 2 to 3 will take even lower time, and then from 3 to 4 is also something that we can already see in the medium term. Having said that, these are the tenets that we follow, because we now have an office from 2018 for the humane and ethical use of AI, which we felt was very important to self-regulate us, because this is something that can also be used by a bad actor. And you can read it yourself. What we believe is that your data is your product. It's not our product. We do not want that your data should have any problem regarding control and access. That is your data. You should be able to control and access it. We also prioritize the fact that whatever is coming out from our generative AI, that it's basically accurate and the results are absolutely verifiable. So take out the bias, take out the toxicity, take out the hallucinations from that. We therefore, all of our products, they have to prioritize that human rights are being completely protected, and therefore advance AI globally, but in a very, very responsible way. Not do it in a manner that could actually harm anybody. And the only way this can be done is being totally transparent with the people that we are sharing our products with, so that they can test it out for the purpose and see for themselves that this is something that really and truly works. Having said that, we are growing along with all of you. We are already there in many of the banks. Of course, not all of them are over here on account of the fact that at this point of time, we have to take the permission of the banks to make it referenceable. Many of the banks do not want that, and therefore they are not here. But we are working right across the entire BFSI sector and with several banks in order to bring them up to speed on the AI revolution. We have 6 offices in India, more than 10,000 plus employees. We were just about 2,500 people when I came in April 2020. We are more than 10,000 now, and I'm so glad to tell you that many of these things actually are happening in India. If you are worried about talent, and there was a question about that just earlier on, believe me, India does not have any dearth of talent. The pool of talent in India is by far the deepest of anywhere in the world. And the best thing about the talent in India is they keep upskilling themselves. It's easy to train them. It's not all that difficult. So that having been said, the only thing that I can tell you is thank you for your listening. Believe me, today, the world is at your feet because you can conquer more and more of it on account of the fact that technology enables you to do so. Technology today is really and truly at our fingertips. More and more of technology is becoming democratized. More and more of you can actually get the results that you want sitting at your desk without knowing coding, because everything today is either no code or very low code. And that is something that enables you. And today, even without code, with simple instructions given in natural language, you can obtain a lot of the results that earlier you just could not have obtained. Even our developers today don't actually put down a lot of queries in SQL and stuff like that. They actually just put it down in natural language, and the code gets written on its own. It's becoming as simple as that. The only thing is, while on the one side there are a lot of advantages, on the other side, you have to be careful about bad actors, and therefore balance whatever you do. Get your data in order, get your trust layers in place, and you're off to the races. So thank you so much. Looking forward to a really bright and shining future for the BFSI sector, and especially for the banks who are the mainstays of this particular sector, and hoping all of you will launch very soon on the AI journey and get where you actually want to be. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your wonderful insights. It's really great to have you here today.